Hey guys, welcome back to another Sorted George. Today's job on the Scamp, we're going to be giving the instrument cluster a bit of a freshen up. So what we've done so far is we've taken out the light switch. Okay, as I showed you before, you've got to press that button and it should just pull out, he says. Hang on, push that back in. You've got to give it a wobble. There you go. Right, so you've got to pull that arm out from the light switch over here on the left. Now this one, you can just use some needle nose pliers. If you look at the end, you can get some needle nose pliers in there. Undo that nut, and then that will come out from behind. Excuse me. I'll just put this back together. There you go. And on the wipers, they just pull straight out the top like so, and it's like a little D shape. And then and the same again, you undo that with a pair of needle nose pliers. That'll be fine, and then that will fold, and that will come out of there. So once you've taken them out, there's 6 of these at the back, and they just screw out from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the fascia will come away from the actual metal frame. So that's as far as we got so far. I have seen on other pictures of A-body Mopars that here they seem to put the little wallet thing for the CERTI card. Bit of a strange place to put it, but never mind. Obviously they've pulled this one off, leaving some sort of sticky stuff behind, and obviously it's ruined that. So I'm going to take all this lot apart and give it a good clean. Now the glass, etc., you have some basically what it is, it's plastic nipples come through and then they get melted and pushed down, so you can't really replace it. So the best thing to do is just sort of hook them off, take the glass out, and then when you come back to put it back together, just put a dab of super glue on there. That should be fine. It's the same as over here for the oil light and the brakes. Same again. You can see tucked down in here, that white, that is the back of the wipers, and then the same over here, that's the back piece of card, paper, whatever, for the lights. So, and they just slide out. So I should take these off, much to probably a lot of people's disgust, but you can't really get into here and give everything a proper clean, which basically is what it deserves. You can see the state of the glass on there. It's gross. Wants a real good clean. The actual things behind for the alternator, temperature, etc., same as all this lot, is actually really nice. I'm really pleased about that. I think what I should do is just put a bit of paper behind and just freshen up the needles like I usually do, with a bit of orange, and leave that well alone. There's no need to take all that lot out. That's pretty good. Same again with the speedo needle. I'll just give that a tidy up. So I'm just going to tidy this lot up, basically, just the front. That'll be fine. Sorted, George. Right, here we go. Right, let's start with the easy one first, shall we? Sometimes they break off, sometimes they don't, and they want to be a pain in the bum. Let's see what happens here. Here we go. Chipping away. Here we go. There's one. Sometimes you can drill them out. I want to see if I can do it without drilling them first. That's that one down there free, at least. I don't want to break this. There's another one. I think that's going to go nicely. They've held in well for 47 years, I suppose. Can't grumble. See if we can cut it off. There you go, that's 3. I've just heard that go. See if I can get my blade in there. There you go. Here she comes. That's that one. There you go. That's that one. Right, I'm bashing against the camera now, so I'll come back. Well, it was just this one here that was hanging on for grim death. But that's come off now. That's nice. So that's the top and side 4 that's come off, and then down here that's just sliding up nicely. That's lovely, as you do, and that's left a nice nice tooth all the way around for it to slide back over for when I glue it down. So that's good. Right, I'm going to take off these metal frames here for the brake light and oil light, and obviously the alternator, temperature and fuel. So right, let's crack on with that. Okay, first mistake, here we go. What I've been doing is I was chipping away around the edges and it was working. When I come down to this one, I thought, oh, I wonder if I can just grip it and twist. Well, what that done was actually break the shaft that sits on. So I'm going to have to glue that back on now, unfortunately, but never mind. So don't... Where are we? Find one, there you go. Right, so don't grab it and twist, which is what I've just done. And that's what pulled that out. Basically, I was just chipping away at the ends, you know, around the outside. Hence all these tiny little bits here, look. But that's the one that twisted out, so I need to save that. So don't do what I done. And then that, now, look, it's just going to come off of there beautiful. Just like so. And I can give that a quick wipe over. Look how clean that is. That's lovely. It's just the glass, really, that's filthy that I need to clean up. That's lovely. Banging mush. Right, just going to do this side. And then we're done. Right, I now have off everything that I want to get off. Even the fasten seatbelt sign. That's got a little tab on it just off to one side, so you can't get that offset. So that's good. I've got the lights and the wash wipe out as well. There, give them a quick clean up. And again, they've got like a little shape to them, so obviously you can't get it wrong. Actually, that one went that side, didn't it? But anyway, yeah, so going to give that lot a clean and come back. Sort of, George. This is where we're up to so far. I've decided now to strip completely the dash frame out. It will be easier for me to separate all this lot, and then what I'll do is I'll tuck some paper or something down the back so that I can paint the needles. It'll be easier to do it separately than try and do it all in the frame. I've given all this lot a wipe over. As you can see, we've got loads of different sort of nuts and bolts and cardboard tubes and everything else. This lot now is, I had a little crack up here and I've rubbed all that lot down now, so that's nice and smooth, and all this lot's been smoothed down as well. So what I should do is give this housing a quick prime, and then I shall be painting it black, and then I shall go around the outside in the silver. When it comes to putting everything back together, then what I'll do is I'll go through all this lot with you, where it goes, etc, etc. So, right, I'm going to crack on. Everything's wrapped in paper now. Let's give it a quick coat. Okay, 2 coats done. That's tidy them needles up. They'll look nice when they're back in the dash. Sorted, George. Right, let's give that fascia a coat. And she's done. There you go. Just waiting for it to dry. It's still a bit sort of glossy in places. Yeah, it's come out all right. It's come out really nice. And all I've got to do now is just go around these sort of two edges here with silver, and I shall highlight the top of the circles as well with silver as well. And there's all the needles undone, you know, unwrapped as it were. You can just see on the bottom of that one the original colour, what it was like, how dull they were. They'd sort of gone very yellow instead of orange. So I think that'll look really nice when it's all back together. Just got to wait for it to dry now. Sorted, George. Right, let's crack on. And there she is done. I've got one or two little mistakes to correct. There. Another one there. But other than that, I think that looks all right, doesn't it? It's going to look rather smart in there. Bang in. Well, what I should do is the radio fascia, I should do the same as well as the glove box as well. So it'll all look the same. But obviously I've got this out at the moment, so I'm just concentrating on this. As you do. Sorted, George. Right, let that dry and we crack on. Okay, let's put this dash back together, shall we? Right. Speedo. On the back of the Speedo, you have two screw holes here that will go through here. Now these, they've got like a little rubber O-ring type effort. Okay. Now they sit in, they've got like a ridge on them, and they sit in to the socket nicely like that. Oh, here you go. I've just dropped it. Just like so. Right. So that goes through. You see, there you go. Right. So that goes through the main hole. Slide that in. And if I turn that around and hold that, you've got these two screws that will screw in through the metal and rubber washer and hold that into place as you do. That's better. Let's screw that down. Right, that's that in place. Lovely. Turn that over. Right, with the alternator, temperature and fuel, what you do, you've got these little sort of plastic, they're like Bakelite washers. Now, if you can see, there's like a ridge. Now, that ridge sits into the socket nicely. But what you do, you put two on the back of these. What do I do with the other one? It's here somewhere. Right. So you sit them on first, and then they just slot straight through like so. And if I turn that over, you'll see this, the screws coming through. And the alternator are held in place by two nuts, and they've got like a rigid edge on it. So they will go on like so, as you do. Tighten that up. Just make sure that's sat in there nice and square. You've got a slight bit of room for adjustment, which is good. Just tighten them down, pinch them down. And that's a 3/8. Right. They're in nice and tight. Sat in there okay. Same again with the temperature and the fuel. So let me just do that and I'll come back. Okay, and there they are, done, fitted. Right, on the back of the temperature and fuel, you've got these speed nuts. Now they're the same size, 3/8 as these nuts here, but these are little speed nuts. So they don't need, they're a bit of a pain in the derriere to get on, but don't over tighten these because they're only sort of thin material. So, but there you go, that's how they all affix on the back, and that's all jobbed. Right, what I've got to do is just change the bulbs, because I haven't done that yet. I'll just change the bulbs out of these so I know that they're new, test them, and then I can set about putting the dash fascia all back together. Sort of, George. Okay, Speedo is back out. In my haste, I forgot to add the little green and blue screens right, this one is actually stuck on the back there, so if I do that, you can see the blue for the high beam, and what it is, they stick. If I bring that one over, you can see that there, and where they've been sat against the back of the Speedo. The screen is sat on like a little tube, and the little tube just slots in there like so. So what I should have done is that, come on, so if I sit that one in there, sit that one in there like so, that's what I should have done first. Now I can just put that straight in and everything's fine. Right, so I'll do that, tighten it up, and away we go. Sorted, George. That's better. Right, I've stuck them on now. If I put them up to the light, you'll see what I mean. There you go. Right, so they're stuck to the back of that, and then I can lay them tubes in the tube hole at the back, like I showed you, and then screw it together. Jobbed. Okay, there it is. That's better. What I've done, I've taken the where's the blue one? There you go. You can see all three now. I've just taken the bulbs out, taken the bulb holders out so that the light will shine through. So that's what it should look like. That's better. Nice and tight up against the dash dial readout thing. So, and there's the one for the oil light and brake light that actually sits within some little teeth, as you can see there when this focuses. There you go. So that's sat there ready for the oil and brake warning light, because that will sit on the back of the dash, but it'll end up being like that. So there you go, that's how that goes. But you've got to get it inside the teeth, and you know you've got it. Right, sorted, George. Let's crack on. Right, what we got so far is the fasten seat belts put back in, the lights and the whitewash sign put back in. Obviously all glass is all nice and clean as best as I can get it. You can see the scratches that are on there. Unfortunately I can't get rid of them, but never mind, it is what it is. And there's the single one. So for the oil and brakes, so what we've got to do first is put the glass on. Now this will only go on one way. If I turn that around the other way and try and put that on at the top, you can see that they don't line up down here, and if I turn it around that way, then it's straight on. So that'll only go one way. Unfortunately I wanted to turn it over so the scratches were on this side, but never mind, it's just what it is. Right, so glass on first. I'm not sure about this side, whether it's the same, is it? Looks like it. Yeah, never mind. So it all only goes on one way, so you can't get around the wrong way. Right, so I'm going to put a tiny spot of glue just on that to hold it in place, and then we've got these fascias to go on and then put it all back together, basically. Sorted, George. Right, here we go. You know when you do something and you sort of think to yourself, I'm not really keen on that idea. Well, what I've done, obviously I've glued these in place. But I'm not really keen on that idea. I don't think it's going to be quite strong enough, you know what I mean? So what I'm going to do is use the soldering iron to try and melt back over what's left. Just as like a belt and braces, basically. Yeah, I'm not over keen on the idea of just the super glue, because if you end up from sat in the car and you end up wiping the dash, no my luck, you push the blooming dash through. So like push the screen through, or the what do you call it, the screen and the. But what I'm doing, So yeah, I'm going to melt it on there. I think I don't like the idea of just that super glue. So here we go. I've just done this one over here on the far right hand side. So hold that on and basically just melt it and sort of stroke to the side at the same time, just to drag it, and hopefully that will do it. There we go. Down the bottom here. There we go. Seems to be working. I think that's the better idea. Just got to make sure that the soldering iron is very hot to melt it. Yeah, that's better. That's working. So, George, looks like we're going to have success, he says. This is not much left on this one, unfortunately, but never mind. Just if I can drag it out and get it over. There you go. There we go. Right. Now let's do these. Banging. Sorted. Seems to be working lovely. That's how it was. There you go. Right. Give that a few minutes to cool down and see how we get on. Well, I've just been giving this a bit of tension. And that's fine, that's stuck on there lovely. Good. This piece over here. Yep. That's lovely. And this one here. There you go. So, I tell you what, let's turn it over and see what it's like for putting pressure. Yep. That's fine. Yeah, lovely. Right, that's that job jobbed. Sorted, George. And there she is, all done, put back together, fitted the fascia to the frame, and she looks lovely, ready to go back in the car. Sorted. That looks great. Pleased with that. Right, all I've got to do now is put the switches back on, and we're good to go. Sorted, George. Right, here we go. And there it is, all finished with the switches in place as well. Right, what I've done now is I've gone and taken out the centre bit and the glove box. What's the name? I've got to separate that off of the glove box frame. At the moment, this piece is an absolute nightmare to get off. Oh my God, this is my first A-body, so fair comment. But you've got all these sort of weird speed nuts on these plastic nipple. You know, look, they actually missed one off of the factory. That's not even chewed up or anything. But the I had to take the radio out, but the heater actually attaches to this as well via. I'm going to take this one off. Should be able to see it. One of them decided to stay behind, but it's like a double stud, and one end of it goes into the plastic fascia, and then obviously that goes through the frame in the dash. And then you put a couple of 3/8 nuts on it. So, but what a nightmare. So, right, all I've got to do now is clean these two up and paint them up the same as the dash fascia. And there she is, all done, jobbed, all finished, all mistakes rectified that I done around the dials, etc. There's the radio panel finished and painted, and the glove box one as well. So that's it, sorted, George. Just got to put it back in now. So that's it for this video. Thanks ever so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you want to know how to get the latch out of the glove box door, check out the video up here somewhere. I'm not sure where it is. It's up there somewhere. Appreciate you watching. Thanks ever so much. Like, share, subscribe if you would. That'd be great. And I'll see you on the next one. Sorted, George.